fight for what you want. All right, she's taken. So, she wasn't alone. That doesn't mean anything, really. It could mean anything. Like, my God, man, fight for her. Did it ever really bother me that they sent the boys into the water? A little bit, but not enough. I feel like maybe not enough. I literally just finished Mirrored Heavens this morning and I have no one to talk about it with. So I will be talking to you about it. Black Sun, one of my favourite books of all time. The second book, Fevered Star, I thought was kind of wasn't treading water, it was kind of laying the groundwork for the next book, which is fair, I understand that, but I could really feel that that's what this book was doing, and I kind of felt a little frustrated because it was a lot of like putting pieces in place, and that was hard for me because I'd waited so long to read this book. I still really liked it, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I love this book. It didn't give me the same feeling I got from Black Sun. I did get that feeling from this book though, because of the paved way that Fevered Star sacrificed itself so that this book could shine. Yeah. Anyway, so with all that said, from now on, I will be talking in only spoilers, so please leave if you haven't finished these books. I do think they're worth it because I love them. If you clicked on this just to see if it's good, I think it's great. I gave it 5 stars. So now we're in full spoiler territory. Let's start at the end. I, first and foremost, devastated that we lost Okoa. I think he was one of my favourites since the beginning. No, they're all my favourites. I love all of them. But that's the problem. I loved all of them and I knew some of them were going to die. I kind of was a little worried that they were all going to die. I got really sour towards the last, I don't know what it was. My last sitting of reading the book, I got really sour because I was like, she's going to kill all of them. She's going to kill all of them and it's going to ruin my experience of this book. I'm never going to want to reread them. I can't believe she's going to kill all of them. What was the fucking point? Why did we do all this if they're all just going to die at the end? I got myself into like a whole tizzy while I was reading it. But it felt like that was the path that they were all going to die. Because first of all, sneaky what they did with Iktan. Sneaky that we are led to believe Iktan died. So, I mean, I was in full denial when it was happening. So Narapana's in the graveyard of the gods, right? And oh God, I love them both so much. Sorry, I just saw a line that I'd underlined. I just saw that I'd underlined, I would suffer it all again for you. Narapana, graveyard of the gods. It's not quite normal. She's dreamwalking-ish. She's doing something. Anyway. And so you're under the impression that it's actually really happening. And we've seen her dreamwalk before. But for some reason, I was just so convinced that she was on both planes of existence at the same time. And she was seeing what was happening in the real world. And I knew one of them was going to die. Because I was so mad at this point. Because we've already lost our boy. So she's like, oh my God, does this mean that her tutor survived? If Iktan survived? I hope so. I think so. Anyway, diversion. It says, and somewhere within all, Iktan and Kupshu, I don't know. And I was like, oh, no way that Iktan's dead. Not the priest of knives. All was silence again, no whispers of the undead, but no sounds of the living either. And that was kind of what got me. I was like, oh, I think we've really killed Iktan. I was still being a bit delusional, and I'm still delusional about Okoa. I'm convinced Okoa is secretly alive. Even though they told us that they took his remains back for a proper burial. I'm like, he's with the crow. He's with his big crow. He's not dead. Anyway, it was just so sneaky. It was so sneaky to make me think that Iktan had died the whole time. The whole ending of the book, I'm thinking Iktan's dead. My favourite character, I've called them all my favourites at this point. My favourite character, I do think Iktan's my favourite, actually. Has the best moments, I think. And also got one of the better endings, I'd say. Because Iktan, not dead. I'm baffled. So if we're just sticking with Iktan and we skip all the other stuff, I'm still kind of delusional that Iktan's alive. And then Narapana, when she's the sun priest and in Tova and burning everything, mentions again that Iktan's dead, like properly declares Iktan dead. And I'm then like, oh shit. Oh no, really dead? Really dead. And then Iktan just never turned up again for the whole final like conclusion of the story. And that I was just devastated because again, I'm also in denial thinking that Narapana is also alive because we didn't watch her die. It did kind of suggest that she died somewhere, but we didn't see. If I don't see them die, they're not dead. So the story ends and we get this 2 months after the fall of the Karen King, and we get the witch's point of view, which she has been starting and ending a few of the books, maybe all of them. So they're carrying Narapana's, yeah, I always get confused on the sounds of that name. They're carrying Narapana back and she's in this like coffin because she's comatose and she hasn't returned to her body, and it's just this whole like not funeral procession but basically funeral procession back to the sky tower, the celestial tower, and then the witch sees someone walking like right next. What does it say? Because I love it. Beside the palanquin walked a lean figure in red. And as soon as we got to that bit, I was like, oh, Iktan. That's Iktan. That's Iktan. It's been 2 months, and in my head, Iktan has never changed clothes. Wore their wedding clothes. No. Iktan wore the red outfit that they got married in to take their wife back to the celestial tower. Devastating. God, I'd love another book of Narapana and Iktan. I would devour that. Rebecca, please. So basically, this thing is happening where I'm like, okay, Iktan's alive, Narapana's alive. We're okay because the author has put her in a comatose. I'm thinking that Iktan's dead and Narapana's dead. So by the author just both bringing them back, even though in this awful state, I'm like, they're alive. Because if we were gonna kill Narapana, she'd be dead. So by putting her back in a comatose state, she's alive. She's alive as far as I'm concerned. And then we get Iktan having a chapter at the end and going back to see Xiala. Is that how I've been decided to say it? Xiala. A teak. And I adored it. I adore Iktan so much. The fact that they're friends, I love. Also, I love seeing characters from other people's perspectives. Like, I love seeing our main characters, the people that we really know really well, be seen from an outsider's perspective. So the image of Iktan walking up to the celestial tower to meet up with Xiala and then like embrace, and they're having like this little conversation with each other, and the point of view we're watching them in, we don't know anything that's going on. We don't even really know that they're good friends, but we know they're good friends. It was just so good. I loved it so much. So them like continuing to stay friends for like the 6 years and meeting up and visiting all the time, not all the time, but a lot, considering that like the distance between Teak and Tova. In my head, what's going to happen post book is Serapio's going to go back to Tova secretly and just fix her. And then Iktan and Narapana get this like beautiful reunion, and they get to have this happy life together, ruling Tova. Yeah, because that's what her mom says, right? If we're taking first of all, if we're taking any of the predictions to heart, it's going to be the coyote ones, right? Because that's the one that ended up kind of having the most weight. So I would imagine the Narapana's mum, who's from Coyote, who looks at Narapana and says that you're going to own this whole place one day. I'm putting a lot of weight in that. So I'm going to say that Narapana and Iktan rule Tova together, hand in hand, my beautiful couple. Yeah. While I'm gushing about Iktan, I may as well go back to also my favorite thing that's happened in this book, and it is their title as the Priest of Knives, the ex-Priest of Knives. I love like a myth surrounding a character. I love a reputation that it just follows them everywhere, and this book does that so well. But especially for the Priest of Knives, it's so delicious. I love it so much. I love a character being feared and renowned, and it was so good because Iktan's kind of been lurking in the background for a while, has been like lurking especially in the second book, and kind of observing, kind of mourning, I'd say, Narapana as well. So when Iktan finally decides that they're meaning business, they go to this, like, the breakfast, and it's this interaction which is my favourite, or one of the first ones at least, where I was like, ooh, Iktan means business, and I'm so here for it. It's like chills is when, so they're threatening this kid from Golden Eagle who conveniently survived the massacre. So in the beginning of the conversation, the one from Golden Eagle says, "You are the priest, are you not?" And then Iktan says, "Ex-priest." And then this whole conversation then happens after that. Iktan activates into scary mode. So please, Iktan's hand closed vice-like around his arm. Sit, eat. And then Iktan says, "Priest of Knives," letting a grin seep across Zer's face. I've never known how to pronounce the pronouns also, because I haven't listened to the audiobook. I've been saying Zer. I've been saying the X is a Z. But I know some people pronounce it as an S. I don't really know. I've been stuck on the Z sound. Anyway, Priest of Knives, Iktan said, letting a grin seep across their face. "I was not simply a priest. I was the Priest of Knives." Love it. Love it so much. It's so threatening, but like just confidently threatening. Like, you know, you don't even need to threaten or say anything else. You just need to declare who you are. Obsessed. And then that starts Iktan's like murder spree of like going and trying to assassinate Balaam, and then like assassinating all of Golden Eagle, and it was just so good. I loved it so much, breaking into the like Balaam's sleeping quarters and like basically performing what Iktan's always been supposed to be, has been trained to be, which we've never really got to see at all, but finally being able to see Iktan living up to like their full potential. Delicious. And then post-assassination stuff, Iktan's like in the wind. No one knows what's happened. So then post-massacre, Nasute's talking to Poage. I don't know how to pronounce that one either. So they say Z was the Priest of Knives, one of the few surviving watchers. Nasute's shock would have been comical had the situation not been so deeply dire. "In my city, she brought the Priest of Knives to my city." Ex-priest, Balaam corrected. But anyway, it's so good. I love the reputation that's following, and the like shock and horror of people being like, if I had have known Iktan was the ex-priest of Knives, this would have been very different. Terza, the daughter of the matron of Golden Eagle, says, "I will personally hunt down Iktan Winged Serpent and avenge my mother," which I think is really interesting because she's the only one who hasn't given Iktan that like Priest of Knives title. She's has called him Iktan Winged Serpent, and I love it so much because it's like taking away his like watcher status, and also kind of declaring a little bit of war on Winged Serpent. Like, it's not that Iktan has done this as Iktan, it's that also this is a slight from Winged Serpent as well, which I just think is a really interesting way to look at it, because Iktan I don't think operates as Winged Serpent really at all, but maybe a little bit, but I feel like Iktan more just belongs to Iktan. All that to say, I just really love someone having a title. I love it so much. It's this bit also. Balaam gathered himself. "I knew you would come eventually. Numa might claim that you are simply her advisor, but Layat told me who you are, Priest of Knives." It's just so menacing. I love it so much. So that's Iktan and Narapana kind of wrapped up. Let's leave it there, because I also want to talk about Okoa. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Also, Okoa. Just to turn rotten fruit into flour and then to mow that flour down. I'm sad. Speechless. And then to make the person who killed him into the next matron of the crows. Why? All right, yeah, you're following orders, and then you're going to use that to then wager that to be the next person in charge. Like, it's that thing of everyone's the like main character of their own story, and this guy definitely thinks he's the main character. Because you're gonna assassinate the son of the clan that you're in, and then use that as a wager to then do a coup on the matron of that clan, who was the one who told you to assassinate the son, and then to then take her place as the leader of the clan. Awful. I almost need another book to see my revenge on him, because how dare he? How very dare he? I'm upset. And like, looking at it from an objective point, I can see now that Okoa had nothing to live for, because that sounds horrendous. But like, there was no like, what was Okoa's end gonna be? Like, what was his future gonna look like? I don't really know. Running the crows, but that doesn't feel true to who he was. Nothing feels right, and I hate what they did to him. I hate it. Oh, hang on, my mum's ringing me. Okay, that was good because it's maybe made me calm down a little bit about Okoa. I'm not as, I mean, I'm still mad, but I'm calmer. Anyway, what I was thinking, also, oh, hang on, hair on mic, does that matter? I don't know. What I was thinking was, at the very end of the book, also, we see that both Okoa's giant crow, sorry, that was tinnitus, okay. At the end of the book, Okoa's giant crow and Serapio's giant crow, the white one, are seen to like roam across the top of Tova for like I can't remember, it was in someone's point of view, I think it was the witch's point of view, like noted that this happened after the events, and I want to believe that that's something to do, I don't know, I can't accept that Okoa's dead. My brain, I can't do it. Because, like, what do you mean his end was being stabbed in the back by one of his sister's people after he, like, fulfilled his part in the prophecy? He did what he was supposed to do, and then he was disposed of. Like, I just think he deserved a happy life. He deserved a happy life flying around with his crow. I just feel like all the main characters got to live apart from him. Ah, my boy. I just realised I never really mentioned Narapana apart from how she relates to Iktan's story, and I think that does kind of sum up her role in these books, because in the beginning Narapana's kind of like set up to be one of the big characters and the big players in this like war of gods and avatars and stuff, but I don't know, I feel like she didn't do much. And I feel bad because I really like her. And I like the direction she was going with the like Coyote clan and what she was doing there. In the second book, I felt like she kind of faded into the background in this book. I kind of forgot she was there, you know? Like, it feels like, what did she even do? Like, all her dream walking stuff was really interesting, and I do believe she's kind of the one that pushes Balaam into his insanity, but I'm kind of a bit, like, wary about what she was doing in the Graveyard of the Gods. Not wary, iffy, confused. What, because, like, her whole thing was that she was going to go and take down Balaam, right? but she goes into her god form and reaches Tova and then just burns everything to the ground. And I suppose that's just serving as like the catalyst for Serapio's crow god to then like be inside of him and like try to take over. So what it is that she was kind of just part of this big like domino effect that's happening. But what was her plan? Because she didn't achieve it. Is that why she couldn't get back to her body? Like, she basically just stepped back into the sun god form, and then like Serapio refused to follow through with her god's want because she refused to burn the celestial tower, and then she got stuck, is what happened. But did she kind of forget what she was doing there? What happened to the original plot? What happened to the original plot of the plan? You know? I really liked her, but as one of like the face characters of the books, I was expecting her to kind of like do more. Yeah, I think it also is a bit of an issue because obviously she's like taken herself to this village and is like learning this craft while everyone else is like doing things and making moves, going through these awful experiences. She's kind of just training. And I think that's one of the things as well, because she spent the whole of this book training. Then we kind of didn't really see that training like thrive, because we kind of just see her be taken over by this sun god. And I think her like resistance at the very end didn't feel like enough of a payoff for me for all of the training that she did in the book, while everyone else was like, you know, saving their homeland and murdering entire groups of people. And the last main character is Serapio and Xiala, because Balaam can sit in a ditch. He can sit in a ditch. I've never said that phrase in my life. I loved these two. I was convinced that Xiala was doomed for maybe the 50% mark. So when I initially read the riddle and got like really obsessed with it and started annotating it, I thought that the tides mention was about Xiala, and I never believed that not the crow girl. Wait, hang on. Yeah, here. I got a bit obsessive about the riddle. I love a riddle. I love a prophecy, because it's not really a riddle. I was convinced Turn the Tides was Xiala, because who else? So I thought that was just about her part in this, because Cut the Path, Mark the Days, Turn the Tides. I think Cut the Path is probably all of the moves that Serapio's making to cut the path, because he's influencing things. And then I think Mark the Days is probably related to Balaam and Narapana, and just the like marking the days in the like stars and the calendar and the moon and the sun. I think that's what that's about. And I think Turn the Tides is about what Xiala's been doing with like obviously the mother and kind of reclaiming back her island, and then coming to like into her powers and then using that to kind of rescue Tova. I think that part of the prophecy is about her. So Slay the God Bride Still Unloved really annoyed me, because I never thought it was Xiala, because Serapio, as soon as he thinks it could possibly be her, he's like, no one else. This is the only person I refuse to sacrifice. I cannot let any harm happen to Xiala. So I'm like, so then, how is she the unloved? How is she the God Bride still unloved? Because you obviously have such strong feelings for her. This is obviously about someone who is unloved, and that is not Xiala. Xiala is famously loved. It didn't make any sense to me. So the whole time I'm hearing this prophecy and I'm thinking, but that's not her. Stop it. We're down the wrong path. For a while, I thought Slay the God Bride Still in Love was about Narapana, because she's like the avatar of the sun god. So I thought in being that, she is the God Bride of the sun. So I was worried. I was stressed. But then when Iktan turns up, all my worries gone, because like, so loved, so it can't be her. So safe. I was wrong, not safe, but safe from doomed fate. Yeah. So in the sense, I thought Narapana wasn't doing much to drive stuff forward and go towards her plan. Xiala was doing everything. She was everything. She was everywhere. She met everyone in the book, I think. I'm not sure if she met Narapana. Possibly no. I think Narapana is the only person that Xiala hasn't met. But Xiala's been everywhere. And oh my god, the beginning of this book, and she's on Teak, and was it Tun? Tun turns up and like takes the island. That was just all so stressful. Every time that her chapters ended and they were still under the rule of like Tun, I was just like, oh, not again, because then I have to wait like what, 50, 90 pages to find out what's gonna happen next. And it was so stressful because I love the people of Teak so much, and it was just distressing. So I was so relieved when that was done with. And then Xiala just then continues to hunt down. And it was just, as she kept putting herself in situations, I was like, oh, stop. Don't go there. Don't follow Balaam through the streets. You're going to get murdered. Don't walk through the shadow door when the guard advises you not to volunteer for this cause. Stop it. Stop putting yourself in harm's way. I mean, it worked out, and for some reason, miraculously, she survived it all. But stressful on the way. And you know what, as well, when she escaped the camp that walked through the shadow door, she escaped it and goes down the river. So she looks up, she sees a crow flying through the air, and she's like, oh, a crow. And then she gets out of the river and she goes towards it. And then the next chapter is Balaam being like then we find out that he did sense her there, and then is going to send someone after her, and it turns out to be Golden Eagle. And I was so stressed because I was like, no, that wasn't a crow, that was a Golden Eagle. And now Xiala's going to just walk up to Golden Eagle, and then you have to wait multiple POVs to find out if that's what happened. It wasn't. It was our boy, but stressful. Everything that Xiala did was so stressful. My main point of stress was when I realised that the part of the prophecy that was about Xiala was actually the bit where it says that the crow god in winning will lose everything. And I can't remember where it was. I'm trying to see where I panicked about this in the book. I just saw where I wrote, it's Balaam! What's that about? I think it's about Serapio's father. Oh yeah, Serapio did everything in the prophecy, and the prophecy still wasn't fulfilled. And I was like, it's Balaam. Because I figured out that he was his dad. I say I figured out. I reread that section like multiple times where Serapio's old tutor like stops mid-sentence, because that's when the tutor figures it out. And I was like, wait, what's happened? I've missed something. And I reread it like 3 times. I was like, oh, they figured out that Serapio is Balaam's son. Anyway, so that was the problem with the prophecy, was that Serapio killed their own dad. But where's the bit of the prophecy where I freaked out? Oh, wow. I thought it was way sooner than that. Page 480. I don't know even if it's in focus. There we go. Page 480 was when I started worrying about Xiala, because I realised that she was Serapio's everything, and that meant I spent the whole time reading the book like him, thinking, when he wins, he will lose everything, as in his life. He will die, because the crow god lives within him, and the crow god, I think, is the thing that was kind of keeping him alive, because he was supposed to die on Sunrock. So yeah, and then I realised it wasn't. He had more to lose, and it was Xiala, so I was stressed from this much of the book, which actually isn't that much. This amount of pages, I was convinced that Xiala was destined to die. And honestly, that was stressful. That was like a whole day of thinking that she was a goner. And then finally being reunited with Serapio in Tova was so good. And you know what? It was kind of what I wanted for the end of the book. So their first time being reunited, after, what has it been, like 6 months maybe, and they like, you know, run into a hug with each other and they're crying, and it's just so good. And then at the very end of the book, they reunite after 6 years, and it's just odd. I don't know, I hate that I wanted more. I hate that I wanted more. So, I'm jumping way ahead. The thing in the Celestial Tower happens with Balaam and Serapio and Xiala, and it's good, it's fine. It doesn't feel like the finale of a 3-book series, if I'm being honest. It just kind of felt like another fight. But also the whole book was so good. So the fact that it felt like another fight in this book, I don't think is a bad thing. It's just that the standard was so high that this final like interaction with all three of them kind of was just on the same level. And I am so used to things being amped up a little bit, but this almost like had nowhere to go because all of it was so good before that. I think that's the issue. I think that's what happened with the final fight for me anyway, because what else could they do? Yeah, so when Serapio realizes that it's Xiala that he could lose if he wins, he then defies his god, and then she has to, well, first of all, she bursts Balaam into pieces. Xiala has to then kill the god that's within Serapio with the like golden knife, and she's basically killing him. I never really fully believed that Serapio was dead, just because we're told that he's dead, very like upfrontly told that he's dead, because Xiala sees and says that he dies, but that's from her point of view. But then he turns into a bunch of crows. So I was feeling pretty positive about the whole thing. And you know what was devastating was the flock flying up the Celestial Tower and just leaving her. And she yells, "You promised," but the crows did not acknowledge her cry, and then they were gone, disappearing from view, and the jagged pieces of her heart, her fragile belief that somehow Serapio would keep his word, went with them. I think my shock wasn't that he was alive somewhere. My shock was that it was 6 years. It was 6 years he was alive somewhere being a hermit. Alive long enough. He says that it took him a while to like come back into his human form. Who knows how long a while was, but he had enough time to build a house, establish a career. You know, so it must have been a while. Also I kind of mourn for the time that he lost with her. Like he lost 6 years, but then also I'm wondering, did maybe Xiala need to have that time to rule Teak as the queen without like the crow god reborn at her side, even though he's not the crow god anymore? But would she have been able to rule Teak as the queen if she walked side by side with a crow god? I don't think so, which I think is why she needed to be on her own. But 6 years, I would have just, I don't know. For a hot minute, I also forgot how pregnancy works because, so Iktan turns up. So then we see two figures on the beach, and we find out that one of them is her son that's like 6 years old. And my stupid brain was like, oh, she must have got magically pregnant after Serapio died from the gods or something. From like his god. I was so confused, and then I remembered it takes 6 months to have a, not 6, 9 months to have a baby. And then possibly they could have conceived the baby before he died. I just forgot it was an option. I felt really stupid. But yeah, I don't know. People always complain as well about epilogues of books having like people have a kid, but like I don't know. I thought this was good. I thought it's also like really symbolizes the Teak people. It establishes like a clear as well thing. First of all, makes her put her foot down. No more boys being sent to the sea, and then secondly, it's kind of like a thing from the mother, I'd say as well. So more of the people who are like set in their ways would see that their queen who'd come to save them then gave birth to a boy. So it's like a coming of a new age, you know? It's almost like the mother signed off on that because like this is their new queen and she has been given a boy. Yeah, I don't know, did it ever really bother me that they sent the boys into the water? A little bit, but not enough. I feel like maybe not enough. I don't know why I definitely kind of just rolled with it. When they said it in the beginning, I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, back to her being reunited with Serapio. So Iktan tells her that they've heard rumours about a hermit who's blind and that lives in the mountains, and she goes and travels to find him. And honestly, it's just, she goes up. So she makes her way up the mountain and she sees Serapio older and long hair and planted, like, doing his little gardening. And she watches him and she thinks that he's beautiful. And then he, like, just, offers her food or something? I hope you plan to stay for dinner. I don't know, maybe he's been a hermit for too long. What's going on? Like, I think visually, I really like it and I like how it played out, but emotionally, I wanted more. I suppose maybe it comes into play of, like, Serapio's sense of self-worth and what he thinks he deserves, and he doesn't see, like, Xiala as his anymore, and just kind of sees her as coming as a visitor, whereas she definitely sees them still as a pair, as a couple. She sees him as her sole person, and he doesn't really see them as a pair. He sees her as, like, this thing, this ethereal being, and he doesn't, like, deserve her. So I think when she rocks up, he treats her with, like, this bit almost like detachment, like almost like how his tutors had treated him when he was younger. Like, it's very strange. It's like he's keeping her at arm's length. And then it says, "You smell like the ocean," he said, voice soft, almost wistful. "Even here so far away, I missed it." And the part he did not say, but she heard in his voice, "I missed you." It was sweet and I really liked it, but there's so much unsaid. So right before he dies, she says, "Don't leave me now. Promise me, please, Serapio, promise me you won't leave me." And then he says his last words, and his last words are, "I promise." And then he leaves her. So she says, "I made a promise about something else." And he says, "So did I. And one I meant to keep someday, only I did not know how. I'm sorry I left you alone. It was the last thing I wished to do." So why did you do it? That's so vague. Someday? When is someday, Serapio? When? It's been 6 years. When was someday going to be? When was someday going to be? 3 years. I would have accepted 3 years. But 6 feels so long. That's such a long time. We can see a bit of his thinking, because when she says, "I was not alone," it says, he paused. She could see his own heartache in the fold of his shoulders, the unsteady hand that stuttered over the knife. Of course. And then she says, "Not what you think, I have a son." And she says, "Our son." It's like he was being a martyr. He hid himself away for 6 years. It's almost like he kind of wanted everyone to move on so that he could continue being a martyr. Like, she says that she wasn't alone, and he was just kind of like, of course, fight for what you want. Fight for what you want. All right, she's taken, so she wasn't alone. That doesn't mean anything, really. It could mean anything. Like, my God, man, fight for her. Fight for her. Like, it's what you want to be a hermit. I said, again, that's all he knows. That's all he knows. It's what he knows how to do. He doesn't know how to, like, be a person and live a happy life. But my God, I want him to try. I'm hoping she will teach him how to do that. Oh my God. But yeah, I want to shake him. I want to shake him. You wasted so much time. So much time. I'm happy that they're together. He touches her face and she says she'll tell him a story, and it's very sweet. But, like, one more chapter. I think I just needed one more chapter. Of what? I don't know. And oh my God, Balaam killing his cousin. Oh, horrendous. I don't even have anything else to say apart from, oh my God. And lastly, one of my favorite, like, little things about this book is, like, the talk of Predator and Pray that goes on in all of the bits of the book. And it should have been when I knew that Okoa's fate was sealed, because everyone else, all of the, like, main players of the game have been described as Predator at some point, apart from him. He's the only one. I think he's also the one who claims that they are prey, I think. Hang on. To the other matrons and stuff, when they're all, like, showing him the knife that they made, he says, "We are children teasing a predator who will cry when we are devoured." He's the only, like, point of view in the book that hasn't been described as a predator. Everyone else has. Like, on page 136, God, who is this? Is this Balaam? Balaam refers to himself as a predator. He grinned, showing teeth for the first time, letting her see him for the predator that he was. Interesting. And then Iktan is working everything out and is thinking about Balaam, but also thinking about themselves, and says to themselves, "The most successful predators," Iktan thought, "often hide in plain sight." Meaning because Iktan was hiding in plain sight as well as Balaam. So that's, I feel like, referring to Iktan also as a predator. And then Xiala, I believe, refers to herself as a predator. This isn't it, but on page 476, she also says when they're talking about, they're like, have the whole war council together of Serapio's people, and they're talking about what they're going to do about the sea, and then she just says, then leave them to me. Is so delicious. I love I love that so much. And also, we don't even see that bit. It's just like such an easy feat for her that we don't even like see her do it. It just happens in the background at the end of the book, where they're like, oh yeah, also Xiala just decimated the entire naval fleet. God, where is it where she calls herself a predator? I can't find it now, but it's there. I promise. But I just find it really interesting. I think, is it possible Narapana is then never referred to as a predator? Now that I think about it, I'll have to reread it. But those were just the ones that stuck out to me. I think it's possible I didn't highlight it, but she definitely says it, or she thinks it to herself, or she's been described as a predator in some way. Either when she's like burning all the ships down, or no, I think it's when she's swimming through the sea and she's hunting down Tun's ship and then like goes deeper and calls upon the Kraken. I think it's that, but I can't find it. But she's definitely described as a predator. I'm also, I don't think Narapana is described as a predator. I'm just realizing. I just thought it was interesting. I just thought it was interesting. I really like when similar language pops up across different point of views. I really love that. I love like different point of view stories, and I think this one does it really well. I think the way they're all woven together is done so well, and also the way that each chapter stops on an awful part is so good, and so frustrating. I thought this went really fast as well. I think because of that, this was such a quick read for me, even though it's like over 500 pages. I just had a really good time. Honorable mention is Iktan when they start referring to Narapana as their wife. Oh, loved it. Hang on, this is it. And let us devise a plan to keep my future wife safe and return back to me after she saves the world. Narapana startled. Future wife? Yes. If I'm going to stand aside and support this madness, I need something from you in return. Also, this bit devastating. So, Narapana is with her like tutor and talking in like the main room, and Iktan's gone to get dressed but hasn't like come back out, and Narapana goes in, and then Iktan is like just sitting on the bed quietly. She swallowed. It was one thing to tell Kupshu of her plans, another to tell her lover and best friend. And then Iktan says, I had the strangest dream. I dreamt that I travelled across the entire continent to find the woman I loved, only she conspired with an old village woman to come up with a plan, the very same plan, in fact, that killed the old woman's daughter. Oh, I just love it. I love it. It's devastating. It's devastating. And I love all the like little bits of like them when they were younger that we get. She says, do you remember when we met? Then they say, you had a better lunch than me. And she smiled at the memory, and you gave me that knife to protect me, to impress you. I love it. I love them. Anyway, I'm gonna end on that so I don't end on sadness. But yeah, I'd love more books. I'd love more books, but I understand that we probably won't get more books because this is literally the end of a trilogy, but I had a great time. So thank you for letting me chat. If you have recommendations on books as good as these, with like, now you know what I like in books, so if you have a recommendation, let me know. Also, oh my god, what was your favourite bit of the book? Please talk to me about the book. Please, that's all I want to do. All I want to do is talk about the book. So if you have any thoughts, your favorite bit, your least favorite bit, if you agree with me, if you strongly disagree with me, let me know, please. I just want to talk about this book all the time and think about this book all the time. I don't want to let it go. Hang on, I'm getting the audiobook from my library so that I can check the pronunciation.
Xiala was drowning.
Xiala? I've been calling her Xiala in my head the whole time.